Hey everybody, it's Ziz here, and real quick, I want to give you an idea of what the alpha roadmap, what testing is going to look like for Ashes of Creation. There are a whole bunch of different phases and different things we're testing, and maybe best of all is you don't have to have one of those giant packages, alpha packages to play. They're going to open it up to everybody who's registered on the website. Now, you won't get as much playtime as those who bought the alpha packages, but you're going to get to start playing really soon. So let's talk about how that's going to work and how all the phases are laid out. Now, when they talked about alpha previously, it was more of the generic sort of alpha where, most MMOs where you log in and you level up and you test questing and that sort of stuff. But before they got to that, they really wanted to test the action combat and test their engine and their servers and massive battles. So they split alpha up into two different phases, right? So there's alpha 1 phase 1 and alpha 1 phase 2. So the first part of Alpha 1 Phase 1 Part 1 is what we've seen recently. Those are what people are getting invited to right now. They've been testing, and this is a battleground. So 100 people, you run around, you pick up armor and weapons. Those give you abilities. You can even build buildings and towers and walls and that sort of thing. And it's just a regular battleground where you're just fighting and killing each other. And the whole purpose is to test the fighting, test the action combat, is what we're doing now. And they're going to let everybody who's registered, they're going to let you into that pretty soon, right? Over the next month or so, Alpha 1 testers, they're going to get in first. They're basically beta testing the alpha. They're beta alpha testing for you. They're going to make sure all the bugs are worked out, make sure you can log in and stuff. Once the game is looking pretty, they're going to start opening up to letting, if you've just registered online, you don't even have to have a package. So if you haven't registered, go do that. And if you have an Alpha 1 package, check your emails, check your spam folder, because those invites are going out already. So you might have an invite. Those tests could be starting like right now this weekend. And even if you don't have a package and you're not invited, keep your eyes open, because the NDA is going to be dropping really, really soon. Up until this point, people could talk about their experiences and what it's been like, but as soon as they stop having crashes and stuff like that, which happened in early tests, but once it is, streamable where people aren't crashing all the time, they're going to lift that NDA really soon. And so, watch Twitch, watch Twitter, watch YouTube. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out where you can check the game out, and it's going to be a lot of fun with this sort of, battleground style. So that's part 1 of Alpha 1 Phase 1. Next is going to be part 2 of the first phase, and that's coming at the end of this year. So by the end of December of this year, they're going to start doing castle sieges, which is my favorite part of PvP and MMOs coming from Dark Age of Camelot. I love that, and I'm so glad that we're going to start testing that right away. It's going to be 100 versus 100 players, 2 teams, so 200 people fighting over this giant castle, right? You got attackers and defenders, and the castle is actually going to be destructible as well. We're going to have siege engines, and you're going to be able to tear down walls, and it's going to be objective based, right? So you might have something like, the king's room, and so the attackers are trying to get in there and take over the throne room, and the defenders, of course, are trying to stop it. And so you can use those siege weapons to break down different walls, and buildings and stuff to make your, path in there a lot easier, a lot of strategy and stuff. And you're even going to be able to invite up to 20 guild members into these battles. So it's 100 versus 100, but you can start strategizing and getting to know your guild mates and stuff like that in game. And so that's really fun. They're also going to start having class kits. So instead of just randomly picking up a staff to use staff abilities, they're going to have, tank kits and healer kits and DPS kits. So they're not the full classes yet, but you can start to feel how the Trinity and combat will feel with frontline people and healers and stuff like that. Again, that's coming by the end of December is when it's going to start. And then after that, once it looks like it's fleshed out, that's probably when they would open it up to people who are registered on the website. Now, the third part of the first phase of alpha is what they're calling the Horde Mode. We saw this a while ago on the Monster Coin video. This is where players get to play as monsters in the game, right? You get to take over these giant monsters and bosses and all this stuff, and they're going to have 50 players who band together and who are trying to defend against these waves, this onslaught of monsters who are coming at them. And each progressive wave gets harder and harder, and you're just trying to see how long you can survive, which is really fun. People who like PvE, and it's a kind of different take on that. But also they're going to be introducing the bosses and boss mechanics as well. So this will kind of give you an idea what dungeons and raids and open world bosses are going to look like, because they're going to start introducing those mechanics. And this should start by the end of March of next year. And that sounds like a far, long ways away, but really that's 5 or 6 months this is going to be starting. It's also going to have a merchant system. So while you're playing, you can collect currency and collect items and stuff, and you can use that at the merchant. And they said they're going to have cosmetics that you can buy during the testing that will carry over into the live game. So the more you're testing, the more you're helping the game get into a more polished state, the more you're doing, you can buy awesome looking cosmetics that will carry over. Now remember, these are just cosmetic. They don't affect your power at all. It's not going to make them better on day one, but this is really awesome where the live game comes out and you can put on your sweet outfit and be like, hey, look, I helped test the game. I was there at the very beginning. And so that's going to be coming as well by the end of March 2019. So that's part 1, 2, and 3 of phase 1. After that, Alpha 1, we're still in Alpha, but Alpha 1 phase 2 is the more traditional style of testing that we were expecting, that we're kind of used to, right? It feels more like an MMO. You're going to be able to level up to level 20. They're going to have nodes that progress up to like level 3. They'll have some housing and stuff like that. The action combat that we've tested all this time, hopefully should be real polished by then. They're going to start adding in the tab target as well. So the combat's going to become, more fleshed out, and we'll have that tab target variant to see what that's looking like. Also, the world size is going to be 25% of what they envision the end world size. They're gonna have about a quarter of that done, which sounds small, but it's actually really huge. It's 120 square kilometers, so a huge world. They're also gonna have all 8 of the base class archetypes in. So you wanna play as a tank, you'll be able to play a tank, and so they're going to have those in. Also 4 of the 9 races will be available, and they're going to have the character customization, right? Character creation in the game. Obviously it won't be fully fleshed out, but this will give us an idea of how many sliders and options and things that'll be available, so that'll be fun to play with. And there's going to be a ton of players. I mean, thousands and thousands of players. They expect to have at least 2 to 3 servers with 1,500 concurrent players. So in that 25% of the world, 1,500 people live and playing at a time with at least 2 or 3 servers. So lots of people, lots of action, all this stuff that we've tested up to then. That phase 2 is expected to start by the beginning of the 2nd quarter next year. So that could be April, May, maybe even sooner. I mean, if anybody's been paying attention to this development, these guys are going so fast. They're setting a new standard of what game development, especially MMO development, looks like. So we know stuff gets pushed back. We say that for every game. These guys haven't had to do it yet, right? Knock on wood. I hope that doesn't happen, but they've been going so fast. So make sure if you have Alpha 1, I believe that's the Braver of Worlds, the $500 package. If you have that or above, check your emails, check your spam folder. Testing is starting any day. Even if you don't have it, keep your eyes open because the NDA is dropping really soon. Make sure you register because they're going to start letting people in, and I'm super excited. I'm going to be streaming as much as possible at twitch.tv/itziz. Also, if you want to see some more videos, you can click there and watch some more from yours truly. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button or share with your friends, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.